Trapped in Time, The Haunting Secrets of Shadows of Tomorrow. Chapter 1, Whispers of the Abandoned. The sun hung low on the horizon, casting an amber glow over the town of Crestwood. As the warm rays filtered through the trees, a sense of anticipation filled the air. Anna stood in her bedroom, glancing at the cluttered desk where a faded map of the long-forgotten Fairland Amusement Park lay sprawled out. The park had been closed for decades, left to rot in obscurity, but for Anna and her friends, it was a beacon of adventure. "Are you guys ready?" Anna called out, excitement bubbling in her voice. She slipped on a worn-out jacket, the fabric soft against her skin, a reminder of countless adventures that had led her to this moment. In the living room, Ben was fiddling with the camera, ensuring it was ready to capture every thrill of the day. He was the sensible one in the group, always the first to suggest caution. Yet today, he seemed swept up in the thrill of the unknown. "Just make sure you don't break it again, Ben," Jess teased, a smirk dancing on her lips as she shoved a bag filled with snacks into her backpack. Her dark hair bounced as she moved, a whirlwind of energy that often kept the group's spirits high. Lily, quieter than the others, was tracing her fingers along the edges of the map. "I've heard strange things about that place," she murmured, her voice barely above a whisper. "People say it's haunted." A chill ran down Anna's spine at the thought, but she brushed it off, laughing nervously. "Haunted or not, it's going to be epic." Mark chimed in, striding into the room with an infectious grin. He was the daredevil of the group, always pushing boundaries and challenging everyone to step out of their comfort zones. "Let's just hope we don't run into any ghosts. I'd prefer to come back in one piece." As they piled into the car, Anna took a moment to glance back at her home. The familiar surroundings faded into the distance as they drove further from the comfort of their neighborhood, the landscape transforming into rolling hills and dense woods. The excitement in the car was palpable, punctuated by laughter and chatter, yet Anna felt a strange sensation creeping in, an inexplicable unease, as though the trees themselves whispered secrets to one another. They arrived at the park just as dusk began to settle, the sky streaked with vibrant purples and blues. The towering entrance gates loomed before them, rusted and overgrown with ivy, a ghost of its former glory. Beneath the fading sign that read, "Welcome to Fairland," a heavy silence enveloped the group. "This place is creepy," Ben remarked, adjusting his glasses as he peered through the cracked gates. The air felt thick, heavy with memories long buried. Anna stepped forward, her heart racing with both fear and exhilaration. "Come on, don't tell me you're scared." She gestured for them to follow, pushing the gate open with a groan that echoed like a warning. The sound sent shivers down her spine, but she pushed through, determined to uncover the park's mysteries. Inside, the remnants of a bygone era sprawled before them. Faded rides stood like skeletal remains, and the echoes of laughter seemed to linger in the air. The Ferris wheel loomed in the distance, its paint peeling and rusting, yet it still held a strange charm. "This is amazing," Jess exclaimed, her eyes wide with wonder as she took in the scene. "It's like stepping into a horror movie." Anna nodded, the thrill of exploration washing over her. Yet, deep within, a nagging voice urged her to be cautious. As they wandered deeper into the park, a chill swept through the air, causing Anna to shudder. The sun dipped below the horizon, and the once inviting atmosphere turned ominous. Suddenly, Lily stopped in her tracks, her gaze fixed on an old carousel, its horses frozen mid-gallop. "Do you feel that?" she whispered, her breath visible in the cool evening air. "It's like the air is thickening." "What do you mean?" Mark asked, brow furrowed. Lily hesitated, searching for the right words. "I don't know. It feels wrong, like we shouldn't be here." "Stop being so dramatic," Ben laughed, but his voice lacked its usual confidence. The uncertainty hung in the air, as if the park itself was holding its breath. As they approached the carousel, the ground beneath their feet seemed to vibrate, a low hum resonating through the silence. Anna's heart raced as she felt a presence brushing against her consciousness, a whisper echoing from somewhere deep within the park. It was a call, faint yet insistent, luring her closer. "Guys, do you hear that?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. The others paused, exchanging confused glances. "Hear what?" Jess replied, her brows knitting together. "Just listen." Anna closed her eyes, straining to hear the source of the sound. It was like a distant melody, haunting, nostalgic, and filled with sorrow. It beckoned her, wrapping around her like a shroud. "Anna, this isn't funny," Ben said, concern etching his features. Suddenly, a rush of wind swept through the area, swirling leaves around them like a chaotic dance. The whispers grew louder, morphing into distorted voices, filling Anna's mind with fragments of stories long forgotten. "Help us." The chilling plea sent a jolt through her body, and she opened her eyes, heart racing. "We should go. Now." But as she turned to leave, the ground beneath them trembled violently, and the sky darkened unnaturally, casting shadows that seemed to stretch and twist into unnatural forms. The park transformed into a nightmarish landscape, and Anna's instincts screamed that they were in far more danger than they could comprehend. "We need to get out," Lily shouted, panic creeping into her voice. The atmosphere thickened with dread, and the whispers intensified, growing frantic as though the park itself was warning them to leave. As they ran toward the exit, the air shimmered, and in an instant, everything changed. The day reset. Once more, the sun hung low on the horizon, and Anna found herself back at the gates, the map still spread out on her desk, as if nothing had happened. But a shiver of unease lingered, whispering to her that they had barely scratched the surface of the park's dark secrets. As the echoes of the past entwined with their fate, Anna realized that something far more sinister awaited them in the heart of Fairland Amusement Park. Chapter 2. The First Loop. With a deep breath, Anna pushed the rusted gate wide open, her heart pounding in rhythm with the echoes of the past that surrounded her. The park, though eerily familiar, seemed alive in ways she hadn't anticipated. The air buzzed with an almost electric tension, as if the very ground beneath her feet was charged with secrets. "Let's stick together," she urged, glancing back at her friends as they stepped inside the crumbling entrance. Ben, Lily, Mark, and Jess shuffled in, their faces a mixture of excitement and apprehension. The gates creaked ominously behind them, sealing them into the forgotten realm of Fairland. The faded colors of the park, once vibrant and cheerful, had dulled to a melancholic palette of grays and browns. Vines crept up the sides of abandoned rides, and the scent of damp earth mixed with something almost sweet, like nostalgia gone sour. "Hey, do you guys feel that?" Jess asked, her voice laced with uncertainty. She looked around, her wide eyes reflecting the shadowy corners of the park. "It's like the air is thicker here." "It's probably just the humidity," Mark shrugged, though the unease in his voice betrayed his confidence. "Let's find something cool to explore." As they wandered deeper into the heart of Fairland, the atmosphere shifted. The sound of their footsteps echoed against the hollow structures, and Anna couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. Every now and then, she caught glimpses of movement from the corners of her eyes. Flickers of shadows that vanished when she turned to look. "Do you ever get déjà vu?" Lily suddenly remarked, her brow furrowed. "It's like, I've been here before, but I know I haven't." "Yeah," Ben replied, glancing around uneasily. "It feels like we're moving in circles." Anna's pulse quickened. "What do you mean?" "Every time we pass by that old ticket booth, I feel like we just walked past it," he said, pointing to the weathered structure that had seen better days. Anna glanced back, noticing the ticket booth again, its paint chipped and faded, standing eerily in the same spot. "You're right. That's odd." Just as they were about to continue, a sudden chill swept through the air. It wasn't just the temperature, it was a palpable sense of dread that seemed to grip their hearts. The atmosphere thickened, making it difficult to breathe. "Let's keep moving," Anna urged, feeling the anxiety rise in her chest. They pressed on, venturing toward a towering funhouse that loomed ahead, its mirrors shattered and its entrance a gaping maw that beckoned them in. "Look at this place," Mark said, stepping inside with an air of bravado. "I bet there are some hidden gems in here." As they entered the funhouse, the warped mirrors reflected their images back at them, twisting and distorting their appearances. Anna couldn't help but laugh, the absurdity breaking through the tension. But even as she giggled, the laughter felt hollow, echoing strangely in the hollow space around them. "Creepy, right?" Jess said, a nervous chuckle escaping her lips. "I don't like the way my reflection looks." "Maybe you're just seeing your true self," Mark joked, but his voice lacked its usual playfulness, and Anna could see the fear lurking in his eyes. They wandered through the winding corridors, surrounded by flickering lights that buzzed ominously above their heads. The mirrors seemed to come alive, reflecting moments that hadn't happened yet, twisting time and space in disorienting ways. Every time they turned a corner, it felt as though they were retracing their steps. The laughter faded, replaced by an unsettling silence. "Guys, do you remember when we came in?" Anna asked suddenly, her brows knitting together. "I feel like we've been here longer than we should." "Yeah, I was just thinking that," Lily replied, her voice shaky. "It's like time is messing with us." Just then, a flicker of movement caught Anna's eye. A figure stood at the far end of the corridor, partially obscured by shadows. It was a girl with long, dark hair, wearing a faded jacket, who seemed to be watching them. Anna felt a chill race down her spine. "Who's that?" Jess whispered, her voice trembling. The girl stepped forward, her expression unreadable. "You shouldn't be here," she warned, her tone low and urgent. "This place is dangerous." "Dangerous? What do you mean?" Ben asked, incredulous. "The loop. It traps you," the girl said, glancing nervously around as if she expected something to emerge from the shadows. "You have to leave before it's too late." Anna's heart raced. "What loop?" "The time loop. It resets the day if you don't find a way out," the girl explained, her voice barely above a whisper. "You're caught in its grasp, and the longer you stay, the more disturbing things will become." "Why are you warning us?" Anna pressed, a mix of fear and curiosity in her eyes. "I'm Sarah," the girl replied, her gaze shifting to the ground. "I've been trapped here too long. I tried to escape, but each attempt brings me back to this moment. You need to uncover the truth about what happened here." "What happened?" Lily asked, her voice shaking. "Decades ago, there was an incident, something horrific," Sarah said, her eyes darkening with the weight of unspoken memories. "People vanished, and their souls became tethered to this park. You must discover what happened to break free." Before they could respond, the lights flickered wildly, and the air seemed to vibrate with energy. The walls of the funhouse shimmered and warped, the reflections twisting into nightmarish versions of themselves. "Run," Sarah shouted, fear etched across her face. "You need to find the truth, or you'll be trapped here forever." As they turned to flee, the world around them began to dissolve, colors swirling into a vortex of chaos. Reality fractured, and Anna grasped for her friends, panic rising as they sprinted through the hallways. The walls closed in on them, the echoes of laughter turning into anguished screams. "Anna, where are you?" Ben's voice rang out, swallowed by the shadows. "I'm here," she shouted, but the moment her words left her lips, everything shifted. The ground shook beneath their feet, and then, silence. In a flash, Anna found herself standing at the park's entrance once more, the sun dipping low on the horizon as if no time had passed at all. The gate creaked open, revealing the same rusted path leading into Fairland. "What just happened?" she gasped, her heart racing. The familiar sensation of déjà vu flooded her senses again. The group gathered around her, their faces pale and bewildered. We just came back," Mark stammered, his eyes darting around as if expecting something to emerge from the shadows. "What is going on?" Jess asked, her voice trembling. "I don't know," Anna admitted, her throat dry with fear. "But I think we're stuck in a loop." The park loomed before them, the whispers of its dark past echoing in the silence. As the sun dipped lower, casting long shadows across the ground, Anna realized that they had only just begun to uncover the sinister secrets hidden within Fairland Amusement Park. The true horror awaited, and they had to face it together if they were ever to escape. Chapter 3. Fleeting Moments. The warm glow of dawn spilled through the cracked gates of Fairland, painting the abandoned amusement park in hues of gold and amber. Yet for Anna and her friends, the beauty of the morning felt eerily deceptive. As they stood at the entrance, confusion clouded their minds, a lingering dread thickening the air. "Is it just me, or does it feel like we're back where we started?" Mark's voice trembled, a nervous edge evident as he scanned the area. "Yeah, I feel it too," Lily replied, her eyes darting to the shadows that clung to the park like a haunting memory. "It's like we never left." The realization settled over them like a heavy fog. "What do we do now?" Jess asked, her voice cracking. She hugged herself, the chill of the morning air mixing with the apprehension swirling in her gut. Anna swallowed hard, her mind racing. "We need to figure out how to break this loop," We can't keep experiencing the same day over and over again. Didn't that girl, Sarah, say we have to uncover the truth? Ben chimed in, his brow furrowed. But where do we even start? Before they could formulate a plan, a chill crept down Anna's spine as a memory flashed through her mind. The ghostly figure of Tom, the boy who had vanished decades ago. She recalled the pain etched on his face, the desperation in his eyes. Tom, we need to find him. Are you sure that's a good idea? Mark asked, skepticism lacing his tone. What if we provoke something we can't control? We have to try, Anna insisted, a steely determination taking hold. We can't let fear dictate our choices. As they made their way deeper into the park, tension crackled in the air. Whispers flitted around them, a soft cacophony that felt both familiar and foreign. Lily shivered, stopping abruptly. Do you hear that? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Hear what? Ben asked, concern creasing his features. It's like voices, she said, peering into the shadows as if expecting something or someone to emerge. Weird, Mark replied, glancing nervously around. It's probably just the wind. But Lily shook her head, a frown creasing her brow. No, it feels different, like they're calling out. Ignoring the unease creeping over them, the group pressed on, navigating through the remnants of carnival rides and dilapidated attractions. They reached the haunted house, its entrance gaping like a wound in the fabric of time. The air turned thick and heavy, an unsettling stillness surrounding them. Let's go in, Anna suggested, her voice steady despite the rapid thumping of her heart. We have to confront whatever is lurking in here. As they crossed the threshold, the atmosphere shifted, wrapping around them like a shroud. The interior was cloaked in darkness, the remnants of twisted props and faded paintings flickering in and out of view. The group ventured deeper, guided only by the faint light filtering through the broken windows. Anna felt a sense of foreboding wash over her. Shadows danced at the edges of her vision, and a whisper, soft, pleading, floated through the air. Tom, she breathed, feeling a sudden rush of urgency. Anna, are you okay? Jess asked, her concern palpable as she reached out to touch Anna's shoulder. Yeah, I can feel him, Anna replied, her heart racing as she moved further into the room. Suddenly, the temperature dropped, a frigid wave washing over them. The walls began to tremble, and a low, mournful wail echoed through the haunted house. Panic surged through Anna, but she pressed on, fueled by the need to uncover the truth. Stay close, she shouted, but the darkness seemed to swallow her words. Before they could react, Tom's ghostly figure materialized before them, his translucent form flickering like an old film reel. The air crackled with energy, and the room pulsated with an eerie glow. Help me, he whispered, his voice barely audible but laced with desperation. You must find the truth. Tom, Anna gasped, stepping forward, but as she did, a violent gust of wind swept through the room, knocking her back. The others stumbled, their expressions a mix of fear and confusion. What is happening? Lily shouted, her eyes wide with terror. Something's not right, Ben exclaimed, glancing at the flickering lights. As Anna regained her footing, she saw Tom's face twist in anguish, his ghostly form shimmering with intensity. You can't stay here, he urged, his voice rising in pitch. You must uncover what happened to me. With that, the air around them shattered like glass, and Anna felt herself being pulled into the abyss. The world spun wildly, and before she could grasp what was happening, she was thrust back to the park's entrance, the warm sunlight flooding her senses once again. What the hell just happened? Mark yelled, panting heavily as he looked around, bewildered. We were just inside the haunted house, Jess stammered, glancing at Anna. And then we were back here? Lily clutched her head, her expression a mix of disbelief and fear. I think we just saw a ghost. Did we? Or was it just another trick of this place? Mark replied, skepticism tinging his voice. No, it was real, Anna insisted, her resolve strengthening. Tom was there, and he needs our help. We can't ignore this. But as they debated their next move, the atmosphere shifted once more, and an overwhelming sense of dread filled the air. The sun dipped lower, casting long shadows that twisted and writhed like living beings. Anna could feel the tension growing among her friends, the weight of fear pressing down on them. We're losing it, Ben said suddenly, frustration bubbling to the surface. We need to leave. This isn't a game anymore. Lily stepped closer to him, her eyes shimmering with unshed tears. But what if we're the only ones who can help? What if we're meant to break this cycle? The group fell into silence, the gravity of their predicament settling over them. Trust began to fray at the edges, doubts creeping in like shadows. "I'm not going to let this place destroy us," Mark said firmly, his jaw clenched. "We need to stick together." "But can we even trust each other?" Jess whispered, her voice trembling. "What if someone in our group is the reason we're stuck here?" The accusation hung heavy in the air, the camaraderie that had once united them now splintering under the strain of fear. As they glared at one another, Anna felt the walls closing in, the weight of the supernatural pressing heavily on her shoulders. "I don't know what's going to happen next, but we can't give up," Anna declared, her voice steady despite the turmoil within. "We have to confront Tom's ghost again and discover what he wants from us. Only then can we hope to escape." As the sun sank lower, casting the park into darkness, Anna's heart raced with uncertainty. The night stretched before them, fraught with unseen dangers and hidden truths. They were entwined in a web of fear and distrust, yet hope flickered in the depths of their souls. The time loop had reset once again, but this time, they were determined to unravel the sinister secrets buried within Fairland. Each fleeting moment felt like a countdown, a race against time, and with every heartbeat the shadows grew bolder, lurking just beyond the edges of their perception. They had to act, before the park swallowed them whole. Chapter 4: Secrets Unveiled. As the fading sunlight cast eerie shadows through the skeletal structures of Fairland, Anna and her friends found themselves standing in front of a dilapidated building that once served as the park's main entrance. The air was thick with a mix of anticipation and trepidation, their hearts pounding in unison. They had come to a decision. They needed answers. The clues of Tom's existence were veiled in the park's tragic history, and they had to unravel those secrets if they ever hoped to escape this relentless cycle. With a hesitant nod, Anna stepped forward, pushing the heavy door open. It creaked ominously, as if warning them to turn back. Inside, the remnants of the past lay scattered. Faded posters, dust-covered ticket stubs, and a layer of grime that had settled over everything like a shroud. A chill crept up Anna's spine, but she steeled herself, determined to find the truth. "Let's split up and search for anything that might help," she suggested, her voice cutting through the heavy silence. "Look for old newspapers, anything about the park's history." The group dispersed into the dimly lit space, the tension palpable. As Anna combed through the scattered debris, she stumbled upon a frayed box labeled Fairland Archives. Excitement surged within her as she carefully pried it open. Inside, yellowed newspapers and brittle clippings whispered stories of a long-forgotten era. "Guys, over here," she called, waving her friends over. The others quickly gathered around her, their expressions a mixture of curiosity and apprehension. "What did you find?" Jess asked, peering into the box as Anna pulled out a yellowing article dated over 3 decades ago. "It's an article about a tragic accident that happened in the park," Anna explained, her voice trembling slightly as she read the headline aloud. "Tragedy strikes Fairland. Ferris wheel collapse claims lives of 4 children." A hush fell over the group as they absorbed the words. The article described how a sudden storm had caused the Ferris wheel to malfunction, leading to the horrific accident. "It says that 4 children were trapped in the seats when the wheel collapsed. They never found their bodies," Anna continued, her heart racing as she processed the weight of the information. "What if that's what's keeping Tom here?" Lily murmured, her voice barely above a whisper. "What if the spirits of those kids are trapped in this park?" "We have to find out more," Ben said, determination igniting in his eyes. "We need to know what really happened." As they delved deeper into the articles, each member of the group began to share their thoughts, revealing personal fears and motivations. Mark leaned against the wall, arms crossed tightly over his chest. "I hate roller coasters," he confessed, a flicker of vulnerability crossing his face. "I never understood why people would want to put themselves in such dangerous situations. This whole thing, it terrifies me." "I get that," Jess replied softly, her gaze lingering on Mark. "But this isn't just about rides, it's about something much darker. I've always feared being trapped, whether in relationships or situations. What if this loop means we're trapped in our fears too?" Ben shifted uncomfortably, his voice quiet yet firm. I've always been the brave one among us, but facing something like this, it makes me question everything. What if I'm not as strong as I thought? Anna listened intently, feeling a swell of empathy for her friends. We're all afraid, but we can't let that stop us. We need to confront our fears together. That's the only way we'll break this cycle. Lily, who had been staring at a photo of the Ferris wheel, suddenly spoke up. What if we're meant to relive this day to understand their pain, to honor their memories? Her eyes shone with determination. We have to help them find peace. With a newfound sense of purpose, the group began piecing together the fragmented history of the park. They found additional articles detailing not just the tragic accident, but also interviews with grieving parents, descriptions of the park's decline, and even mentions of ghost sightings reported by visitors. Each revelation brought them closer to understanding the weight of the tragedy that had unfolded here. As they worked, Anna felt a growing connection to Tom and the other spirits. Each article revealed more about the children's innocent lives, dreams of laughter, friendship, and joy, now twisted into sorrow and longing. It struck her that this wasn't just about uncovering the past, it was about acknowledging the pain that had been buried for far too long. Hours passed as they sifted through the history, and the shadows lengthened around them. Anna felt a sense of urgency building within her. We have to go back to the Ferris wheel, she said suddenly, the pieces of the puzzle aligning in her mind. It's where it all began. Reluctantly, the group agreed, the weight of their decision heavy on their shoulders. As they stepped back into the night, Anna felt the air thicken with anticipation. The park had transformed, becoming a character in their story, a living, breathing entity that held its secrets close. When they arrived at the towering structure, it loomed over them like a ghost of the past. Its rusted frame, a stark reminder of the lives lost. The wind howled through the skeletal remains, carrying with it the whispers of the forgotten. Do you think we'll see him again? Jess asked, her voice trembling as she gazed at the Ferris wheel. We have to be ready for anything, Anna replied, her heart racing. We need to understand what he wants us to do. With a deep breath, they approached the base of the Ferris wheel, the atmosphere charged with electricity. As they reached out to touch the cold metal, the ground beneath them began to tremble, the air thick with tension. And then, like a spark igniting the night, Tom's spirit materialized before them, his ghostly form flickering in the dim light. His eyes were filled with a deep sadness, and Anna felt her heart ache for the boy who had never found closure. Please, he whispered, his voice echoing through the night. You must help us remember. In that moment, Anna understood. They were not just here to break the loop. They were here to honor the lost souls, to acknowledge their pain and give them the chance to move on. The truth they had unearthed was not just about the past, it was about healing. With a sense of resolve, Anna stepped forward, feeling the weight of the world on her shoulders. We're going to help you find peace, Tom, we promise. As the words left her lips, the atmosphere shifted, and for the first time she felt a flicker of hope, a glimmer of light in the darkness. Together, they would face the ghosts of the past and finally unveil the secrets that had kept them trapped for so long. Chapter 5: Echoes of the Past. The air grew heavy as Anna and her friends faced Tom's ghost, but the moment was fleeting. The atmosphere was thick with tension, each heartbeat echoing the secrets held within Fairland's walls. As the specter flickered and faded, the group stood still, a mix of fear and resolve igniting within them. They had to confront the truth, and they had to do it quickly. As the night deepened, Nina, typically the most skeptical among them, began to feel an unsettling shift within her. The edges of her vision blurred, and sudden flashes of the park's vibrant past invaded her mind. It was as if she were being pulled through a veil, caught between the present and the shadows of what once was. Nina, are you okay? Jess asked, her voice laced with concern, breaking the momentary spell. Nina shook her head, trying to shake off the odd sensations. I'm not sure, but I think I'm seeing something. She closed her eyes, focusing on the images flooding her mind. The laughter of children, the vibrant colors of carnival rides, and then abruptly, a dark and chaotic scene unfolded. the Ferris wheel swaying violently, screams filling the air, and a dreadful collapse that crushed the joy beneath its weight. "I can see it," Nina whispered, her voice trembling. "The day it happened, I think I can guide us." A thrill of hope surged through the group. "What do you see?" Anna asked, her heart racing. "Follow me," Nina urged, her eyes shining with a newfound clarity. "I think I know where we need to go." As they navigated the twisted pathways of the amusement park, Nina led them toward a lesser-known section, hidden behind the remains of a crumbling ticket booth. The wind howled around them, whispering secrets from long ago as they passed beneath an old archway, its faded paint peeling like the memories it once held. "What are we looking for?" Mark asked, casting nervous glances around them, each rustle of leaves heightening his anxiety. "I don't know," Nina replied, the intensity of her visions guiding her steps. "But something here feels important." They entered a shadowy corridor, one that seemed to be untouched by time, the walls adorned with remnants of a brighter past. Old posters advertising rides and attractions, their colors faded but still somehow vibrant. The air was thick with dust, and the silence was almost oppressive. "Over there," Nina exclaimed, pointing toward a door at the end of the hallway, partially ajar. The door's edge was rusted and seemed almost reluctant to yield, but with a collective push they managed to pry it open. Inside, the room was a time capsule, cloaked in darkness but brimming with history. Cobwebs hung like delicate veils, and as they stepped into the space, a faint light flickered from a broken bulb hanging from the ceiling. What caught their attention, however, was the collection of relics scattered throughout the room. Items from the park's past, twisted by tragedy and loss. Jess picked up a battered teddy bear, its fur matted and discolored. "This must have belonged to one of the kids," she murmured, her voice thick with emotion. "Look at this," Ben exclaimed, uncovering an old carnival game stuffed in a corner, its paint peeling and faded. "These are the prizes, but they all look like they've been here forever." As they explored the room, Nina felt the visions intensifying. The echoes of laughter from children faded into the background, replaced by muffled cries and desperate pleas. "We have to find the connection," she urged, her voice quaking. "These items, they hold their memories." Suddenly, a cold gust swept through the room, sending shivers down their spines. It felt alive, as though the very walls were trying to communicate with them. The atmosphere shifted, becoming charged with energy. The remnants around them began to vibrate, and Nina instinctively reached out toward a small, intricately carved box sitting on a dusty shelf. "Wait, what's that?" Mark asked, pointing. "It looks like it hasn't been touched in years." As Nina pulled the box toward her, the temperature dropped even further. She carefully opened it, revealing a collection of old photographs, yellowed with age. The first image depicted a group of children, beaming with joy on the Ferris wheel, their innocence radiating through the decades. "Look at their faces," Anna said, feeling an odd connection to the children. "They're so happy." But as Nina continued to sift through the photos, her heart sank. The next picture showed the same children, but the joy was gone. They were huddled together, faces drawn and pale, standing in front of the Ferris wheel just before its collapse. "What happened here?" Nina whispered, horrified. This was right before. Suddenly, a vision crashed over her. An overwhelming surge of emotion enveloped her mind, blurring the lines between reality and the past. She could see the children again, laughter suddenly morphing into screams. "Run! Get away!" a voice cried, echoing through her mind. "We have to save them." Nina staggered back, overwhelmed, clutching the edges of the box as if it were a lifeline. "We need to find out what they wanted, what they were trying to escape." Lily stepped closer, her brow furrowed. "What do you mean? If we can find out what happened to them, maybe it can help us break the loop." Nina, still shaken, nodded. "They were trapped. They wanted to tell us their story, to ensure that their memories wouldn't be forgotten. But something dark is lingering, and it's holding them back." The group exchanged glances, realizing the depth of their situation. They were not just fighting against time. They were waging a battle against the shadows of despair that had haunted this place for decades. Just then, a loud crash reverberated through the room, causing them all to jump. The air grew colder and the photographs began to flutter wildly. "What is happening?" Jess shouted, panic creeping into her voice. It's them, Nina gasped, her eyes wide. They're trying to communicate. We need to listen. As the chaos swirled around them, Nina's senses sharpened. She focused on the cacophony of emotions surging through her, listening intently for the messages hidden within. Through the whirlwind of energy, she began to decipher a pattern, a plea for help echoing through the veil of time. With determination igniting within her, Nina shouted over the din, "We will find out what happened to you. We will honor your memories. Just give us a sign." As if in response, the photographs flew from her hands, scattering across the room. Each picture floated down softly, landing at their feet like fallen leaves. Anna reached for one, her hands trembling as she picked up a photo depicting the children once more. But now a shadow loomed behind them, a dark figure, half hidden and ominous. "That figure, it looks familiar," Anna whispered, shivers racing down her spine. "I think we've seen it before." The group gathered around the photographs, their previous fears now entwined with a sense of purpose. They understood that the echoes of the past would guide them, but they also knew they needed to confront the darkness that lingered, the malevolent force tethering the spirits to the park. As the winds howled outside, their resolve solidified. They were not just facing the remnants of a tragedy, they were stepping into a confrontation with a darkness that transcended time. "Together, we can uncover the truth," Nina declared, her voice steady. "We will break the loop, but we have to remember that the past isn't just a story. It's a part of us, and it demands to be heard." With the echoes of the past guiding them, the group braced themselves for the next chapter in their journey, ready to face whatever awaited them in the depths of Fairland. A place steeped in sorrow, yet yearning for liberation. Chapter 6: The Gathering Storm. As the relentless loops progressed, time became a blurred entity, slipping through their fingers like grains of sand. Each iteration of the day brought with it a mounting sense of urgency, a heavy blanket of dread settling over the group. With each reset, the weight of the park's tragic past pressed heavier on their hearts, and whispers of fear began to seep into their conversations. Anna stood at the heart of the old amusement park, looking out over the dilapidated rides that towered like sentinels against the evening sky. The Ferris wheel loomed ominously, its rusted frame silhouetted against the darkening horizon, a constant reminder of their daunting task. She felt the pulse of anxiety in her chest, but it was nothing compared to the storm brewing within her friends. "Look, we need to take action," Mark declared, his voice sharp and filled with determination. He paced back and forth, his energy almost frenetic. "Waiting around is not going to solve anything. We need to confront whatever is holding this place captive." Ben crossed his arms, his brow furrowed in disapproval. "And what exactly do you propose? Charging into the unknown with no plan? We don't fully understand the nature of this time loop or what dangers we're facing. We need to be careful." Lily, caught in the crossfire of their escalating argument, glanced between them, concern etched on her face. "Both of you have valid points. But Mark, rushing in without knowing what we're up against could put us all at risk. Do you really think we can break this loop by sitting around and waiting for clues to drop in our laps?" Mark shot back, frustration bubbling beneath the surface. "People are trapped here, and every moment we hesitate is another moment they suffer." "It's not just about us," Jess added, her voice trembling slightly. "There are spirits at stake. We owe it to them to figure this out with caution." David, who had remained quiet, finally interjected, his tone skeptical. "All this talk about spirits and loops, how do we know this isn't just a psychological game? What if we're imagining things? What if it's just the stress getting to us?" The words hung heavy in the air, sending a chill down Anna's spine. David's skepticism felt like a splinter, wedged into the already fragile unity of their group. Anna turned to him, searching for a glimmer of understanding. "You can't honestly believe this is all in our heads, can you?" "Why not? We're trapped in an abandoned amusement park, and it's not exactly the most stable environment. Our brains are wired to create patterns, and we're feeding into them." David's arms gestured wildly, his voice rising with fervor. "What if we're just creating this narrative to cope with our fears?" "That's a dangerous way to think," Mark retorted, his frustration boiling over. "You're implying we should just ignore everything we've experienced, the ghost, the visions, the time loops? Just because you don't want to believe? David rolled his eyes, clearly unconvinced. I'm not saying ignore it, but we need a more rational approach. We should be looking for a way to escape this place instead of indulging in ghost stories. As the tension escalated, Anna felt the air grow thick with discord. It was a rift, deepening between those who believed in the supernatural forces at play and those who sought to rationalize their situation. Fear gnawed at her insides, threatening to fracture their already fragile group further. I think we need to take a step back, Anna said finally, her voice steady despite the chaos swirling around her. Let's not turn on each other. We need to focus on finding common ground. Common ground? Mark echoed, exasperation palpable in his tone. What common ground is there when one of us is questioning everything we've seen? We're all scared, Anna continued, a tremor of urgency lacing her words. And that fear is manifesting as anger and disbelief. We're facing something none of us can fully comprehend, and the longer we argue, the less time we have to help those trapped here. As she spoke, Anna glanced at Nina, who had remained silent during the conflict. Nina's eyes were distant, lost in thoughts of the visions that had haunted her. What do you think, Nina? Anna asked gently, hoping to draw her friend back into the conversation. Nina blinked, her focus returning to the present. I think we're all feeling the weight of this place differently, but we need to harness that fear, not let it tear us apart. There's a reason we were drawn here, and that reason isn't going to wait for us to resolve our differences. Exactly, Jess added, her voice filled with hope. We have to work together. If we keep bickering, we'll only end up in deeper trouble. Ben nodded slowly, trying to gauge the emotions swirling around them. Okay, let's take a moment and regroup. How about we split into pairs and explore? We can cover more ground that way. Maybe we can find something concrete to bring back. Mark crossed his arms, still simmering with frustration but recognizing the merit in Ben's suggestion. Fine, but I still think we need to take action. David sighed, his skepticism evident. I'll team up with you, Mark. Maybe it'll prove your theories wrong. As they divided into pairs, Anna felt the weight of their fractured unity settle on her shoulders. She and Jess decided to explore the remnants of the arcade, a once bustling hub of laughter and excitement now reduced to echoes of its former glory. The flickering neon lights cast eerie shadows, illuminating the broken games and scattered tokens that littered the floor. As they stepped deeper into the arcade, Anna couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. The air felt charged, vibrating with an energy that made her skin prickle. Do you feel that? She asked Jess, her voice barely above a whisper. Jess nodded, her expression serious. It's like something is here with us. I can almost hear the laughter from years ago. Suddenly, the sound of a pinball machine jolted to life, the lights flickering on as if responding to their presence. The game hummed, its metallic voice reverberating through the empty space. Anna's heart raced as she stepped closer, a mix of fear and intrigue washing over her. Is this real? She asked, glancing at Jess, who looked equally perplexed. Or is this just another glitch in the loop? Before Jess could respond, the machine emitted a high-pitched ding, and the screen flashed images of children playing, their joy evident even through the distorted quality of the video. They were playing at Fairland, their laughter filling the air, until suddenly the scene shifted. Dark clouds rolled in, the cheerful music warped, and the children's faces transformed into masks of fear. Anna felt her breath hitch in her throat, an icy realization creeping over her. This is a warning, she murmured, transfixed by the images flashing before her. It's showing us what happened. The arcade erupted into a cacophony of sounds, the laughter, the screams, the chaos of a day that had turned from joyful to catastrophic. Anna clutched Jess's arm, her heart pounding. We need to get everyone back here. They need to see this. But just as she turned to leave, the pinball machine emitted a final, resounding clang, the lights flickering violently before plunging the arcade into darkness. The air crackled with energy, and Anna felt a shiver run down her spine. Something was changing, something sinister lurking just beyond their grasp. Back in the main area of the park, the tension among their friends reached a boiling point. Mark and David stood at odds, their voices raised in heated debate, while Ben and Nina tried to mediate. Anxiety swirled around them like a storm, threatening to tear the group apart. "Listen to me," Mark shouted, gesturing wildly. "We can't let fear control us. We have to take charge. Control or recklessness?" David shot back, his voice steady. "You're not considering the consequences of your actions." Anna rushed back to the group, Jess close behind her. "Everyone, you need to see this." They gathered, curiosity peaked, but the tension simmered just beneath the surface. "What's going on?" Ben asked, concern etching his features. "Something happened in the arcade," Anna replied breathlessly. "We saw visions of the children, and it was all mixed with the chaos of that day." Mark's eyes widened. "Did it show what we needed to do? Did it give us any answers?" "I don't know," Anna admitted, feeling the weight of uncertainty press down on her. "But we can't let our fears divide us any longer. We need to work together." As she spoke, the air around them crackled again, a tangible reminder that time was running out. The energy of Fairland pulsated with urgency, begging them to listen to the echoes of the past and to confront the gathering storm that threatened to consume them all. "Let's go back to the arcade," Jess suggested, her voice steady. "If there are answers hidden there, we need to find them, together." With their resolve solidified, the group turned as one. The storm of their emotions still brewing, but now tempered by a shared purpose. They moved deeper into the heart of the park, the shadows whispering secrets, urging them forward toward the truth that awaited them. The time for division had passed. Now they would face the unknown as a united front, ready to confront whatever awaited them in the depths of Fairland's haunted history. Chapter 7: The Ghostly Confrontation. The atmosphere inside the arcade was thick with tension, an electric charge hanging in the air as the group prepared to confront the spectral presence of Tom. Each step deeper into the dimly lit room felt like walking into the jaws of a beast, ready to swallow them whole. Shadows danced across the walls, twisting and shifting in a disorienting rhythm that played tricks on their minds. "Are we really doing this?" Ben whispered, glancing nervously at the flickering lights above. "What if this just makes everything worse?" Anna turned to him, her determination shining through her fear. "We have to face him. Ignoring Tom won't set us free. It'll only keep us trapped in this loop. We need the truth." Mark stepped forward, his jaw clenched as he rallied the group. "Remember why we're here. We're not just confronting a ghost, we're breaking this cycle. Whatever Tom has to say could be our only chance to escape." As they huddled together, the air grew colder, a frigid gust sweeping through the arcade, sending chills down their spines. "Is it just me, or is it getting really cold in here?" Jess muttered, her voice shaking. "No, it's not just you," Lily replied, her eyes wide as she scanned the room. "It feels like something is watching us." Suddenly, the lights flickered violently, plunging them into darkness for a brief moment. When the illumination returned, Tom's ghost stood before them, ethereal and menacing, his features distorted by a swirling mist. He looked like a figure caught between worlds, both present and absent, his expression a mixture of sorrow and rage. "Why have you come here?" Tom's voice echoed, a haunting timbre that resonated through the arcade. "You shouldn't be here. You cannot escape." "Tom," Anna called out, her voice firm despite the quiver in her heart. "We're here to help you. We want to understand what happened to you." The ghost's eyes narrowed, a flash of anger momentarily flickering across his face. "Help? You cannot help me. You are but echoes of the past, trapped in the cycle just as I am." Mark stepped forward, frustration boiling over. "What do you mean, echoes of the past? We're not here to relive your mistakes. We want answers." With a sudden movement, Tom swept his arm, causing the arcade machines to spring to life. The sounds of distant laughter echoed, followed by cries of terror, each noise layering over the other like a haunting symphony. The machines flickered, showing distorted images of the park's tragic day, and the friends were momentarily engulfed in chaos. "What are you trying to show us?" Ben yelled over the cacophony, his eyes darting to the screens. "Make it stop. You must listen." Tom's voice rose above the clamor, powerful yet tinged with desperation. "The park's tragedy is tied to your fears. You are repeating your own mistakes, and until you confront them, you will remain here forever." Anna felt a shiver run down her spine, his words reverberating in her mind. "Do you mean? What mistakes?" The spectral figure leaned closer, his form shifting like smoke. Each of you harbors darkness, fear, guilt, regret. You must face these demons to break the cycle. Only then can you release me." Jess gasped, clutching Anna's arm tightly. "He's right. We've all been hiding from our own truths. I've been terrified of failing, of letting everyone down." Tom's eyes flickered with understanding, as if recognizing their struggles. "You must confront your fears, embrace the pain, and let it guide you. Only then will you see the way out." Suddenly, the arcade erupted into chaos. The machines rattled violently, their lights flashing erratically as if responding to Tom's rising anger. "No, you must listen," he shouted, but the noise drowned out his voice, creating an overwhelming wave of panic. Anna's heart raced as the arcade transformed into a whirlwind of sound and vision. She stumbled backward, struggling to maintain her footing as the scene around them warped. "We can't let this happen," she cried out, reaching for her friends. "Stay together." Nina, who had been silent, suddenly spoke up, her voice clear despite the chaos. "Focus. Remember why we're here. We have to confront our fears together." As if summoned by her words, the madness around them paused, and a moment of clarity emerged. The swirling images calmed, allowing Anna to catch her breath. She felt the weight of her friend's hands gripping her tightly, anchoring her to reality. "Tom, we want to understand," Anna shouted, her voice breaking through the noise. "What happened that day? We need to know." The ghost's expression softened, the anger giving way to sorrow. "There was a darkness that day, one that claimed not just me, but many others. You must remember that the past is not merely a chain, it is a guide. Learn from it, or be doomed to repeat it." Ben's eyes widened as a flicker of understanding crossed his face. "You're saying we have to acknowledge our own fears and failures? That's what holds us here?" "Exactly," Tom replied, his form wavering as if the tension of the moment threatened to consume him. "Your struggles mirror my own. I am bound by my pain, as you are bound by yours. Break the chains of regret, and you will find freedom." The atmosphere shifted again, a low rumble echoing through the arcade as if the building itself acknowledged Tom's words. The group exchanged glances, the realization dawning upon them. They weren't just battling a ghost, they were battling their own internal demons. "I've always been scared that I'd never live up to expectations," Lily admitted, her voice trembling. "But maybe if I embrace that fear, I can finally break free from it." "I've been afraid of losing you all," Anna confessed, her eyes shining with unshed tears. "I didn't want to drag anyone down with me." Mark stepped forward, determination replacing his earlier anger. "I felt pressure to be the strongest, but that fear has only pushed you away. I'll confront it." One by one, each friend began to voice their struggles, their fears intertwining in a web of shared vulnerability. The arcade became a sanctuary for their confessions, the machines quieting as they laid their burdens bare. As their collective strength grew, Tom's figure shimmered, a soft glow enveloping him. "You are stronger than you know. Acknowledge your pain, and let it guide you to the truth." The room pulsed with energy, the chaos settling into a serene calm. Tom's expression softened, and for the first time, Anna felt a sense of peace emanating from him. "Together, you can find the light in the darkness. Break the cycle, and I will finally be free." Suddenly, a bright light enveloped the arcade, blinding them momentarily. Anna felt a surge of warmth as the chaos dissipated, the sound of the machines fading into silence. When the light subsided, Tom was gone, but his essence lingered in the air, a palpable reminder of the battle they had just faced. "What just happened?" Jess asked, blinking in astonishment. I think we made a breakthrough," Ben replied, his voice filled with awe. "Tom's right. We have to confront our fears, and we've just taken the first step." As they stood together, a newfound strength pulsing through them, Anna realized that their journey was far from over. The path ahead was still shrouded in uncertainty, but for the first time, they faced it together, bound by their shared vulnerabilities and the promise of freedom that awaited them. In that moment, they knew they had turned a corner, and the echoes of the past were beginning to unravel, revealing a way forward through the darkness that had held them captive for so long. Chapter 8: Descent into Madness. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the dilapidated landscape of the amusement park, the group felt the weight of their decision to confront Tom's ghost settle heavily on their shoulders. The initial triumph of their revelation began to wane, replaced by an oppressive gloom that enveloped them as they entered the park once more. Each loop felt increasingly surreal, the boundaries of reality becoming more porous, distorting their perception of time and space. "It's just, everything feels off," Jess murmured, her voice barely above a whisper. They gathered in the abandoned ticket booth, their sanctuary amidst the encroaching darkness, like we're trapped in a nightmare that won't end. Anna looked around at her friends, their faces etched with anxiety. "We knew this wouldn't be easy, but we have to stay focused. We're still trying to find a way out." Ben crossed his arms, his brow furrowed in thought. "But how many times have we tried? Each time we come back, it's the same. I'm starting to wonder if we're even making progress at all." "Don't say that," Mark replied sharply, his frustration bubbling to the surface. "We've gotten closer to understanding. You're just feeling the pressure." "It's not just pressure," Ben shot back, the tension crackling between them like static electricity. "It's like something is creeping in, something sinister that's pulling us apart." The air in the ticket booth thickened, charged with unspoken fears and underlying resentment. Lily shifted uneasily, her eyes darting between her friends. "Maybe we need to take a break. Step back from all of this." "A break? Now?" Mark scoffed. "We can't afford to stop. We need to keep pushing forward before we lose our chance to escape." As the argument escalated, the cacophony of their emotions intertwined with the eerie silence of the park, amplifying their collective dread. Anna felt a sinking sensation in her stomach as the argument spiraled, a deep-seated fear whispering that the loops were beginning to erode their sanity. "We're not helping ourselves by fighting," she said, her voice trembling as she tried to regain control of the situation. The mounting pressure of the time loops took its toll, their minds becoming a battlefield as paranoia seeped into their thoughts. Each instance of déjà vu felt like a taunt, reminding them of their inability to break free. The lines between reality and illusion blurred, leaving them disoriented and vulnerable. "I can't shake this feeling," Nina admitted, her eyes wide with trepidation. "It's like I'm losing grip on who I am. Every reset, I feel more empty." Anna reached out, placing a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "We're all feeling it, but we need to hold on to each other. We can't let the darkness win." But as days turned into a haze of loops, the suffocating sense of doom only intensified. The park began to shift around them, the familiar landscapes morphing into nightmarish reflections of their fears. The once vibrant attractions now seemed grotesque, the laughter of children echoing like a distant memory tinged with despair. Nights became a torment of restless sleep filled with nightmares, and days were consumed by an unshakable tension. Accusations hung in the air like a heavy fog, smothering any hope of camaraderie. "I saw something," Mark stated one afternoon, his voice tight with apprehension. "In the mirror of the funhouse. I thought I saw something watching us." "You're imagining things," Ben retorted, irritation evident in his tone. "It's just the stress getting to you." "No, it's real," Mark insisted, his frustration boiling over. "You all keep pretending like this is normal. Nothing about this is okay. We're losing our minds." "That's exactly what it is, losing our minds." Ben shot back, his voice rising. "We can't let paranoia dictate our actions. We need to stay united." The conflict escalated into a full-blown argument, each friend unleashing their pent-up frustrations. Jess felt the tears welling in her eyes, overwhelmed by the weight of their emotions. "Why are we turning against each other? We were supposed to be in this together." Suddenly, the atmosphere shifted. An unnatural chill swept through the booth, sending shivers down their spines. The laughter that once filled the park had morphed into sinister whispers that echoed in the corners of their minds. The voices were taunting, each syllable dripping with malevolence. "Do you hear that?" Lily asked, her voice trembling. It's like they're mocking us." As they fell silent, the whispers intensified, a cacophony of their insecurities and fears intertwining into a haunting melody that pressed against their minds. The deeper they sank into the loop, the more their individual fears manifested, entwining with the supernatural forces at play. Anna's heart raced as she realized the truth. They were not just battling the supernatural, they were battling each other. The time loops were forcing them to confront their inner demons, but instead of unity, It was breeding division. "We need to take a moment," Anna urged, her voice steady despite the chaos around them. "Let's try to remember why we're here and what we need to accomplish." Ben crossed his arms, skepticism etched on his face. "How can we remember when everything feels like a lie?" "Because that's the only way we can fight back," Anna replied, determination flooding her voice. "We have to confront our fears together, not against each other." Just then, a distant sound echoed through the park, a familiar noise that sent chills down their spines. The creaking of the Ferris wheel, its skeletal frame illuminated under the moonlight. A haunting reminder of their purpose, yet it also felt like a siren call, luring them toward the very heart of their fears. "Maybe we should go there," Nina suggested tentatively, her voice trembling. "It could hold the key to understanding what's happening." Mark scoffed, but Anna could see the flicker of intrigue in his eyes. "It might be worth the risk," she replied, glancing at her friends. "But we have to stay focused and support each other. No more fighting." As they moved toward the Ferris wheel, the air thickened with uncertainty. Each step felt heavier, laden with unspoken words and unacknowledged fears. The whispers grew louder, filling their minds with doubts and anxieties. "What if we can't break the loop?" Jess whispered, her voice barely audible against the oppressive darkness. Anna hesitated, but then squared her shoulders. "Then we'll face it together. No matter what happens, we'll find a way to break free." As they approached the looming structure, the ghostly figure of the Ferris wheel stood as a testament to their struggles. It creaked ominously, the rusted metal framing casting shadows that danced like specters in the moonlight. They gathered around its base, breathing heavily as a new resolve settled in their hearts. The descent into madness had begun to unravel their sanity, but together they would forge ahead. Each step toward the wheel felt like a step toward their salvation, or their doom. "Let's find out what's waiting for us," Anna said, her voice steady, resonating with a quiet strength. With a collective breath, they steeled themselves for what lay ahead, ready to confront the echoes of their past and the darkness that threatened to consume them all. Chapter 9. A Ray of Hope. As the first light of dawn began to pierce through the shroud of night, Anna and Lily stood at the base of the Ferris wheel, its towering silhouette looming like a giant sentinel. The air was thick with anticipation and dread, every breath a reminder of the stakes at hand. Last night's confrontation had left them feeling fragile, but there was a flicker of determination in their hearts that propelled them forward. They needed answers, and the park had been whispering its secrets to them for too long. "I can't shake this feeling," Anna said, glancing around at the crumbling attractions that surrounded them. "It's like we're on the verge of something big. We just have to figure it out." Lily nodded, her eyes scanning the ground as she rummaged through a backpack filled with supplies. "I found this old map of the park yesterday," she said, pulling out a crumpled piece of paper. "Maybe it can help us retrace our steps and uncover some clues." Anna took the map, spreading it out on the ground. The faded lines marked the various attractions, but one particular area caught her attention, a section labeled The Haunted House. It was positioned close to the Ferris wheel, hidden behind the overgrown weeds and rusted gates. Something about it felt significant, like a missing piece to a puzzle they had yet to solve. "Do you think we should check it out?" Lily asked, her voice tinged with uncertainty. "What if it leads us deeper into the loop?" "It's worth the risk," Anna replied, determination bubbling within her. "If we can find a link between this park and one of us, it might give us the key to breaking free. We can't let fear control us any longer." As they navigated through the twisted remains of the park, a sense of urgency propelled them forward. The walls of the abandoned attractions seemed to close in around them, amplifying their apprehension. Every creak of rusted metal and whisper of the wind felt like a reminder of the dark history that lingered just beneath the surface. When they finally reached the haunted house, a shiver of foreboding coursed through Anna's spine. The once vibrant facade was now a grotesque shell, its paint peeling and its windows shattered. Shadows clung to the corners, as if the very walls were haunted by the memories of those who had come before. "Are you ready?" Lily asked, her voice barely a whisper as they approached the entrance. "Together," Anna affirmed, taking a deep breath as she pushed the door open. It creaked ominously, revealing a darkened interior filled with musty air and the scent of decay. Inside, the flickering remnants of decorations hinted at a time when the house had been a place of fun and laughter. Now, it stood as a monument to tragedy, each corner shrouded in darkness. "Look over there!" Lily exclaimed, pointing toward a wall covered in faded newspaper clippings. They stepped closer, curiosity overcoming their trepidation. The articles chronicled the park's rise to fame and the events surrounding the disastrous incident that had led to its closure. As they examined the articles, one in particular caught Anna's eye. It detailed a fatal accident that had occurred during a ride at the amusement park. The victim's name was Tom. Her heart raced as the pieces began to align. "Wait a minute," Anna murmured, her pulse quickening. What if Tom's spirit is tied to this place because of his tragic fate? If we can find out more about him, maybe we can understand how to break this loop." Lily's face paled as she connected the dots. But what if one of us is connected to him? What if this whole time we've been unwittingly tied to his tragedy? The realization hit them like a cold wave. Each of them had come to the park with their own fears and secrets. But what if one of them had a more personal connection to the dark history of this place? Anna felt a surge of hope mingled with fear. As they continued to sift through the articles, Anna's heart sank as she read about the group of friends who had been at the park that fateful day. The descriptions were eerily familiar, as if they were reading the backstory of their own lives. Names echoed in her mind: Ben, Jess, Mark, like a chilling reminder that they might share a deeper bond with the haunted past. "Look at this," Lily exclaimed, pulling out a clipping that described how the friends had been warned to leave the park just moments before the tragedy struck. "It talks about a mysterious girl who tried to warn them. Do you think it could be Sarah?" The thought sent a shiver down Anna's spine. Sarah? She was the one who appeared to us and gave those cryptic warnings. What if she's somehow tied to this, too? A sense of purpose ignited within them, driving them to uncover the truth. "We have to gather everyone together," Anna said, her voice firm with resolve. "If one of us has a connection to Tom, we need to know who it is. This might be our only chance to break free from this nightmare." As they left the haunted house, a renewed determination coursed through Anna's veins. The sun had fully risen, casting light upon the park's forgotten attractions, illuminating their path ahead. Each step felt lighter as the weight of the darkness seemed to lift, if only for a moment. When they reached the ticket booth, the rest of the group was already there, their faces drawn with exhaustion and anxiety. "Where have you two been?" Ben demanded, worry etched in his features. "We were starting to think something happened to you." "We found something important," Anna said, catching her breath. "We discovered a connection between the park's history and one of us. It's time to talk about what we've learned." As they gathered around, Anna sensed the tension still lingering in the air. Paranoia hadn't fully dissipated, but the urgency of their newfound knowledge pushed them to unite, at least for now. "We need to confront this head-on," Anna said, her voice steady. "The tragedy that happened here is tied to one of us. If we can figure out who it is, we might find a way to escape this endless loop." "What do you mean?" Mark asked, curiosity mingled with skepticism. Anna took a deep breath, her eyes sweeping across her friends. "Tom's spirit is connected to this park, and it seems one of us shares a history with him. We need to uncover the truth. It could be the key to breaking this cycle." Whispers filled the group as they exchanged glances, the weight of uncertainty pressing down on them. But amidst the fear, Anna could feel a flicker of hope igniting within each of them. They were not just trapped, they had the power to change their fate. "Let's dig deeper," Lily suggested, determination sparkling in her eyes. "We can't let fear rule our lives any longer. We'll uncover the truth together." With a newfound resolve, the group made a pact to face whatever lay ahead, ready to unravel the mysteries that bound them to the past. It was a fragile thread of hope, but it was enough to guide them toward the light, toward the possibility of breaking free from the shadows that threatened to consume them. Together, they would confront the ghosts of their pasts and forge a path toward liberation. In that moment, Anna felt a surge of solidarity with her friends, a bond forged through adversity. With their combined strength, they would reclaim their lives from the echoes of the amusement park's haunted history. Chapter 10. The Final Showdown. The morning light struggled to penetrate the heavy clouds that hung ominously over the abandoned amusement park. Anna, her heart racing, led her friends through the winding paths of the forsaken grounds, the thrill of anticipation mingling with the dread of what lay ahead. Their earlier discoveries had unearthed the haunting truth about Tom's tragedy, but now they needed to confront the source of their entrapment head-on. "This is it," Anna said, her voice steady yet filled with trepidation. "We need to find the mechanism that keeps the time loop running. It has to be somewhere near the heart of the park." As they made their way toward the central area, the echoes of laughter from a bygone era reverberated in their minds, clashing starkly with the eerie silence that enveloped them now. Each step felt heavy with the weight of the past, as if the ground itself were warning them to turn back. But retreat was no longer an option. They had come too far to turn away. "According to the map we found, there's an old maintenance building just beyond the carousel," Lily pointed out, her voice barely above a whisper. "That might be where we need to go." "Let's move," Ben urged, his face set in determination. The group fell into step, each member's heart pounding with anticipation and fear. As they reached the carousel, its once vibrant colors were now muted and peeling, an eerie shadow of its former self. The familiar tune of the merry-go-round played softly in the background, distorted and warped by time. It was as if the park itself were beckoning them to join the dance of the past. But there was no joy in this melody. It was a lamentation for the lives lost and the souls trapped. "Over there," Mark gestured toward a dimly lit doorway at the rear of the carousel. The entrance appeared to be a hidden passageway, shrouded in shadows and mystery. "That has to lead to the maintenance building." They approached the door, exchanging anxious glances. Anna placed her hand on the handle, her palms slick with sweat. "This is it," she breathed, steeling herself for what lay beyond. As they stepped through the threshold, the atmosphere shifted. The dim light illuminated a cramped space cluttered with dusty tools and faded equipment, the air thick with a musty odor. In the far corner, they noticed a large control panel adorned with flickering lights and outdated machinery. It felt like the heart of the park, the nerve center of the torment they had been enduring. "Look," Jess exclaimed, pointing at a set of levers and buttons. "This must be the mechanism that controls the time loop." Anna's pulse quickened as she approached the control panel, her breath hitching in her throat. "We need to figure out how to disable it." As they huddled around the panel, a sense of urgency intensified. The friends exchanged quick glances, understanding the enormity of what they were facing. Each had their own fears and doubts, but together they formed a united front against the unknown. "Do you see that?" Lily pointed to a series of dials, each one marked with dates and times. "These look like they could correspond to significant moments in the park's history." "But which one do we choose?" Mark asked, tension evident in his voice. "If we pick the wrong date, we could end up trapped here forever." Anna took a deep breath, trying to quell the rising anxiety within her. "We know Tom's tragic incident was the catalyst for this whole situation. If we can pinpoint the day he died, we might be able to break the cycle." The group fell silent, each member deep in thought as they contemplated the weight of their decision. "Remember the article we found?" Ben chimed in, his eyes widening with realization. "It mentioned the date of the accident. If we can find that on the panel." "May 12, 1989, Anna recalled, her voice firm with conviction. "That's the day it all happened." Together, they zeroed in on the dial corresponding to that date, the numbers glaring at them like a countdown clock. "On 3, Anna instructed, her heart racing. 1, 2, 3. With a collective effort, they pulled the lever down, and an eerie hum filled the air. The machinery groaned in response, lights flickering ominously as the park shuddered around them. A wave of energy surged through the room, setting their nerves alight. Suddenly, the temperature plummeted, and a chilling presence enveloped them. Tom's ghost emerged from the shadows, his form flickering like a candle in the wind. "You shouldn't have come here," he warned, his voice echoing with anguish and anger. "You don't know what you're doing." "Tom." Anna shouted, desperation clawing at her throat. "We're here to help you. We want to end this." "You don't understand." Tom's face twisted in sorrow. "The sacrifice must be made. Someone must take my place in the loop." Panic surged through the group, each member exchanging fearful glances. "What kind of sacrifice?" Jess asked, her voice trembling. "You have to choose one of your own to remain here, trapped in the cycle, while the rest of you escape," Tom explained, his eyes filled with torment. "It's the only way to free the rest of you from the curse." The weight of his words hung heavily in the air, suffocating them with dread. "No," Mark cried, shaking his head violently. "We won't let that happen." "Think about it," Tom pleaded, his voice rising in urgency. "I was left behind. I need someone to share my fate so that the others can be free. It's the only way." Tension crackled like static electricity as each friend grappled with the reality of Tom's offer. The thought of losing one of their own was unbearable, yet the prospect of remaining trapped in this loop was even worse. "Who will it be?" Tom asked, his gaze piercing through them. "You must decide." The group fell into disarray, voices rising as arguments broke out. Accusations flew like daggers, and the fear of making the wrong choice drove them further apart. Anna felt a surge of panic as chaos erupted around her. Friends were pitted against friends, distrust festering in the atmosphere. "Stop!" Anna yelled, her voice cutting through the noise. "We can't let this divide us. This isn't what Tom wanted." With trembling hands, she stepped forward, locking eyes with Tom's ghost. "If it has to be a sacrifice, then let it be mine. I'll take your place." "No," her friends shouted in unison, their voices filled with anguish. "We can't let you do that." "I can't watch any of you suffer because of me," Anna insisted, determination surging within her. "This is my decision. I want to free all of you." Tom's expression softened, a flicker of gratitude illuminating his ethereal face. "You don't have to." "But I want to," Anna interrupted, her resolve unwavering. "You've suffered for too long, Tom. It's time to end this." As the others looked on in despair, Anna felt a sudden calm wash over her. The weight of her decision settled in, but within that weight was an overwhelming sense of purpose. She was ready to make the ultimate sacrifice to save her friends. With a final, heart-wrenching glance at her friends, Anna reached out toward the control panel, her fingers trembling as she grasped the final lever. "Together," she whispered, hoping her friends would understand her intention. "No," Lily cried, stepping forward to grab Anna's arm. "We can find another way. We can fix this together." "Anna, please," Ben implored, his eyes shimmering with unshed tears. "We can't lose you." But Anna remained steadfast. "This is my choice. I love you all, and I want you to live. I can feel that this is what it takes to break the loop." The air around them crackled with energy as Anna prepared to pull the lever. "You have to trust me," she urged, her heart pounding in her chest. "It's the only way." With one final breath, Anna yanked the lever down, and a surge of blinding light enveloped the room. The machinery erupted into a cacophony of noise, resonating with the energy of the park's dark history. "Anna!" her friends screamed, reaching for her as the light consumed her form. The last thing she saw was their anguished faces, their voices fading into echoes as the light pulled her away. In that moment, Anna felt an overwhelming sense of peace wash over her. As the darkness closed in, she could hear whispers of gratitude, voices of those who had come before, finally free from their torment. She surrendered herself to the light, knowing she had made the right choice for the sake of her friends. As the brilliance faded, the park trembled, the cycle of torment shattered. The friends stood together, breathless and overwhelmed, as the echoes of the past began to dissolve. The weight of the tragedy finally lifted. In the wake of the chaos, a silence settled over the park, one that held the promise of freedom. Though they had lost Anna, her bravery had broken the cycle, and they were free to return to the world beyond the park's cursed gates. Tears streamed down their faces as they clung to one another, a mix of grief and relief. The park around them felt different, as if the very air had lightened, freed from the shackles of its tragic past. Anna had made the ultimate sacrifice, and in her absence, her friends would carry her spirit forward, a reminder of the power of love and friendship, even in the face of unimaginable darkness. Chapter 11, Breaking the Loop. The remnants of the blinding light faded slowly, and Anna's sacrifice hung in the air like a heavy fog, palpable yet invisible. The atmosphere within the amusement park felt different, charged with an energy that was both exhilarating and terrifying. Ben, Lily, Mark, and Jess stood together, each grappling with the loss of their friend and the weight of the decision they had just witnessed. The time loop was still in effect, but now they could feel the threads of its grip beginning to loosen. "Anna?" Lily whispered, her voice choked with sorrow. She looked at her friends, eyes shimmering with unshed tears. "She really did it. She gave everything for us." Ben's heart ached as he nodded, unable to find the words. "We have to honor her sacrifice," he finally managed, determination igniting within him. "We can't let her bravery be in vain. We need to break this loop once and for all." "Do we even know how?" Mark asked, his brow furrowed in frustration. "We've been running in circles, and every time we think we've made progress, we end up back where we started." "Maybe we have to face what we've been avoiding," Jess suggested quietly, her voice trembling. "Our fears, our regrets, everything that's kept us trapped here. We can't just run from it." The group exchanged glances, the gravity of Jess's words sinking in. They had spent so much time trying to escape the confines of the park, yet the true challenge lay in confronting their inner demons. The looming shadows of their greatest fears danced in their minds, taunting them as if they were alive. "All right," Ben said, his voice firm. "We each need to confront what haunts us. It's the only way to move forward. We owe it to Anna." Lily shivered at the thought. "What if we can't face it? What if it consumes us?" "Then we fight back," Mark said fiercely, his resolve hardening. "We have to do this together. We've already lost too much." As they made their way toward the heart of the park, the once familiar paths felt foreign and menacing. Each step echoed with the memories of laughter and screams, a haunting reminder of the tragedy that had transpired here. They were approaching the dark carnival of their own making, the place where fear thrived and regret festered. The first stop on their journey was the old funhouse, its mirrors cracked and warped, reflecting not just their images but the distorted realities of their fears. "Who's going first?" Jess asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "I will," Ben declared, stepping forward with an air of defiance. He had been struggling with the weight of guilt for not being able to save Anna, and now it was time to face that burden. As he entered the funhouse, the lights flickered erratically, casting unsettling shadows that twisted around him. The mirrors began to ripple, reflecting his worst memories, moments when he had been paralyzed by fear or indecision, when he had failed to protect those he loved. Each reflection grew sharper, more menacing, as if they were coming to life. "Ben!" a voice echoed through the hall of mirrors, morphing into a haunting cacophony of whispers. "You could have saved her. You let her down." He felt a surge of panic rising within him, but he knew he had to push through. "No," he shouted defiantly. "I'm not letting you win." Summoning his strength, Ben approached one of the mirrors. "You're not real," he yelled, pounding his fist against the glass. The reflection rippled violently, distorting into a grotesque version of himself, one that wore the mask of guilt and despair. "Face it, you were weak," the mirror taunted, its voice dripping with malice. "You always let others down. No more." Ben roared, his fists clenched with determination. "I am not that person anymore. I choose to fight. I choose to live." With a fierce shove, he slammed his body against the mirror, shattering it into 1,000 shards that exploded outward, releasing a blinding light. The echo of the taunts faded, and a wave of liberation surged through him as he stepped through the remnants of his fears. Emerging from the funhouse, he gasped for breath, adrenaline coursing through his veins. "I did it!" he exclaimed, heart racing. "I faced it." Lily stepped forward next, her hands trembling as she approached the entrance of the funhouse. "I guess it's my turn," she said softly, uncertainty etched on her face. "You've got this, Lil," Mark encouraged, placing a supportive hand on her shoulder. "We're right here with you." With a deep breath, Lily stepped inside, ready to confront the ghosts of her past. As she moved through the dimly lit hall, the mirrors reflected not only her physical form, but the fears she had buried deep within her, the feelings of inadequacy, the haunting memories of moments when she had felt invisible or unworthy. "Lily," a voice hissed, echoing through the funhouse. "You'll never be enough. No one sees you. You're alone." Panic surged through her, and for a moment she faltered. But then she remembered Anna and the sacrifices they were making. Drawing strength from that memory, she pushed forward, confronting the mirror that seemed to magnify her insecurities. "You don't define me," she declared, her voice growing steadier with each word. "I am strong. I am worthy of love and friendship." As the mirror quaked under her conviction, cracks began to spiderweb across its surface. With a fierce determination, she smashed her palm against the glass, shattering it into a cascade of sparkling fragments. The light flooded her senses, washing away the darkness that had clung to her for so long. Emerging from the funhouse, she felt a sense of lightness that had been absent for too long. "I did it!" she exclaimed, the joy bubbling within her. Mark and Jess exchanged proud smiles, their hearts swelling with encouragement. "You're incredible, Lily," Jess cheered. "I can't wait to see you two break free from your fears too," Mark said, stepping toward the funhouse entrance, determination etched across his face. "It's my turn now." As he entered, the atmosphere shifted once more. The mirrors began to ripple, and Mark felt the weight of his past mistakes crashing down on him. Images flickered to life, memories of moments he had run from, moments when he had chosen to ignore his friend's needs for his selfish desires. "Lark," the mirrors echoed, their voices a sinister symphony. "You've hurt everyone around you. You think you're a hero, but you're just a coward." "Shut up," he shouted, clenching his fists. "I won't let you control me any longer." With each step, he pushed through the maze, confronting the warped reflections that called out to him. Each mirror showed a version of himself that he loathed, the side of him that prioritized his desires over the well-being of his friends. "You're nothing without them," the voices shrieked. "You'll always be alone." Mark felt the anger boiling within him, mingled with guilt and regret. But he would not allow those feelings to hold him hostage any longer. "I've made mistakes, yes, but I'm not defined by them," he roared, stepping toward the mirror that loomed before him, its surface pulsing with darkness. "I choose to change. I choose to be better." With a primal scream, he slammed his hand against the glass, shattering it into countless shards. The echoes of his fears dissolved into silence as he emerged from the funhouse, exhilaration coursing through him. "I did it," he breathed, a mixture of disbelief and joy washing over him. Jess stepped forward, tears of pride glistening in her eyes. "You were amazing, Mark." With her heart racing, Jess approached the entrance of the funhouse, every fiber of her being screaming in fear. Memories of loss and betrayal twisted in her mind like a tangled web, threatening to ensnare her. But she steeled herself, knowing this was her chance to break free. "Here I go," she murmured, stepping inside. The world around her shifted, revealing a distorted reflection of her past. "Jess?" The mirrors hissed, the voices taunting her with memories of abandonment. "You're always the one left behind. No one ever stays. You'll always be alone." She felt tears welling up, her throat tightening with emotion. The fear of being forgotten, of losing everyone she loved, threatened to drown her. But deep within, a flicker of determination ignited. "I won't let you control me," she shouted, her voice echoing with defiance. With each passing reflection, she confronted the echoes of her past. The friends who had come and gone, the moments of solitude that had left scars on her heart. But she would not allow those memories to dictate her future. "I am not defined by my fears," Jess declared, her voice growing stronger. "I choose to be brave." As she approached the final mirror, its surface twisted with her worst memories. She took a deep breath and stepped forward. "I am worthy of love and connection," she yelled, shattering the glass with a single blow. The moment the mirror broke, a blinding light enveloped her, and she felt an overwhelming rush of liberation. Emerging from the funhouse, Jess gasped for breath, a sense of victory washing over her. "We did it," she cried, and the three friends embraced, tears streaming down their faces as they celebrated their triumph over their fears. But in the back of their minds lingered a shadow, a realization that the true test awaited them. They had faced their internal struggles, but the final confrontation with the park's curse still loomed ahead. As they regrouped, Ben looked at his friends, pride swelling within him. "We've faced our fears, and we've grown stronger because of it, but we can't let our guard down now." Lily nodded, determination flickering in her eyes. "We need to find the source of this loop and end it for good." "Right," Mark agreed, his heart racing. "Let's find that hidden mechanism." We owe it to Anna and ourselves to break free from this nightmare. Together, they ventured deeper into the park, united by their shared strength and the memories of their fallen friend, ready to confront whatever awaited them in the shadows. The journey was far from over, but with each step, they felt the chains of their fears begin to crumble, allowing them to inch closer to the freedom they desperately sought. Chapter 12: Shadows of Tomorrow. As dawn broke over the horizon, casting a soft golden glow across the amusement park, the world felt different. The air, once thick with dread and despair, now sparkled with a sense of renewal. The twisted rides and faded attractions that had once seemed to loom ominously now appeared almost serene, their colors brightened by the light of a new day. Ben, Lily, Mark, and Jess stood together at the park's entrance, their bodies weary, but their spirits buoyed by the experiences they had shared. They had confronted their deepest fears, unraveled the mystery of the loop, and emerged on the other side, forever transformed. Yet, as they gazed at the park, a profound silence settled among them, filled with unspoken words and unprocessed emotions. "It's over," Ben murmured, a mix of relief and sorrow threading through his voice. "We're finally free." Lily turned to him, her eyes shimmering with unshed tears. But at what cost? Anna, she gave everything. Her sacrifice wasn't in vain, Mark said firmly, placing a comforting hand on Lily's shoulder. We carry her with us now, in our hearts and memories. She helped us find the strength we didn't know we had. They took a moment to absorb this profound truth. Anna had not only fought for their freedom, but had also ignited a fire within each of them, a courage that would guide them in their lives beyond the park. "I keep thinking about everything we went through," Jess said softly, her gaze fixed on the horizon. "The fears we faced, it's like we uncovered parts of ourselves we never wanted to see." "We were forced to confront our traumas," Ben replied, his voice steady, "but we also learned that we're stronger together. No matter how dark it gets, we can lean on one another." As the sun rose higher, casting long shadows on the ground, they began to reflect on their individual journeys. "I've spent so much of my life feeling inadequate," Lily admitted, her voice trembling. "But now I realize that I can be my own person. I don't have to hide. I can stand tall and embrace who I am." Mark nodded thoughtfully. "I've learned that it's okay to admit when you're wrong. I don't have to be perfect. I just need to be honest with myself and those I care about." Jess smiled, her heart swelling with pride for her friends. "And I've come to understand that vulnerability isn't a weakness. It's a bridge that connects us. I want to build stronger relationships with all of you." A heavy silence settled over them as they stood in the warm sunlight, each lost in their own thoughts. But just as the moment of peace seemed to solidify, an unsettling chill crept through the air, causing them to shiver despite the warmth of the sun. "Do you feel that?" Ben asked, glancing around uneasily. "Something doesn't feel right." Lily's heart raced as she surveyed the park. The vibrant colors began to dim, shadows creeping across the ground like dark tendrils. "It's like the park is still alive, like it knows we're here." Mark narrowed his eyes, feeling an unsettling sense of familiarity. "We broke the loop, didn't we? We faced everything it threw at us. Why is it still holding on to us?" Jess's expression hardened, the remnants of fear creeping back into her mind. What if the echoes of our past aren't truly gone? What if the park is still holding on to our memories? As they pondered this chilling possibility, the shadows around them twisted and churned, swirling like smoke caught in a tempest. The very ground beneath their feet trembled, vibrating with an energy they could not comprehend. "Maybe this isn't just a physical place," Ben theorized, his brow furrowing in concern. "Maybe it's a manifestation of all our regrets, fears, and losses. Everything we faced in that loop." The shadows began to take shape, forming into familiar silhouettes, figures from their past, haunting memories that threatened to overwhelm them once more. "Anna," Lily whispered, her voice barely audible as she clutched her chest, her heart aching at the thought. "What if she's still here? What if we can't truly move on?" "No," Mark shouted, stepping forward defiantly. "We faced those shadows. We chose to confront them. We can't let them control us again." With newfound determination, the group stood together, forming a united front against the encroaching darkness. Each of them reached deep within themselves, summoning the strength they had discovered during their harrowing journey through the loop. "We can't let the past dictate our future," Ben declared, his voice rising above the din. "We are not defined by our shadows." As they shouted their truths into the void, the silhouettes hesitated, flickering like flames in the wind. The shadows began to tremble, as if caught between two worlds. "I will not let fear consume me," Lily shouted, her voice breaking through the suffocating gloom. "I choose to embrace my past, not to be shackled by it," Mark added, his words echoing with confidence. "I will remember Anna, but I will also live for myself," Jess proclaimed, her voice unwavering. The shadows shuddered violently, and a piercing light erupted from within them, illuminating the darkness that had threatened to consume their souls. The park trembled as the shadows began to dissolve, drifting away like mist in the morning sun. The vibrant colors returned, brighter and more alive than ever. As the last remnants of darkness faded, the group stood in the clearing light, panting from the exertion. They looked at one another, their faces reflecting a mixture of relief, exhaustion, and lingering fear. "It's over," Ben whispered, yet doubt clung to his words. Lily stepped closer, her gaze resolute. "We broke the loop, but it feels like there's still something here, something we haven't fully understood." "I know we're free," Mark added, "but it feels like we've just scratched the surface of something deeper. The park may be at peace, but I can't shake the feeling that its echoes will linger." Jess nodded in agreement, her heart heavy with uncertainty. The past may have released its grip, but the lessons we learned and the pain we experienced will always be a part of us. As they stood together, contemplating the complexities of their journey, the shadows of tomorrow hung in the air like a distant echo. They had faced the darkness, emerged victorious, and learned invaluable lessons about courage, friendship, and resilience. But in the corners of their minds, the memories of the loop lingered, whispering promises of challenges yet to come, of secrets still waiting to be uncovered. They knew that while they had broken free from the cycle, the remnants of their past would continue to shape their lives in ways they couldn't yet comprehend. With a final glance back at the park, the four friends turned away, stepping into the dawn of a new day. The sun hung high in the sky, bathing them in warmth and light, a reminder that while the shadows of tomorrow might loom, they were no longer defined by them. Together, they would face whatever lay ahead, armed with the knowledge of their strength and the bonds of their friendship. As they walked into the future, one thing remained clear. The journey was far from over. The past would always echo in the present, but it would not dictate their fate. The shadows of tomorrow may persist, but they would face them head-on together.